So hello and welcome again to Steps to Maths. In this short topic we're going to be looking at multiplying and dividing, and we're going to be looking at them as inverse operations, which means that one reverses the other. So multiplying does the reverse of dividing and dividing does the reverse of multiplying. So we're having a look at this for much the same reason we were looking at adding and subtracting. We want to see if there's a quicker and easier way of doing operations when we're looking at multiple operations that we need to do in a row. But let's have a little look and a little think about what multiplying and dividing mean. So, for example, 20 multiplied by 3 is 60, and the reverse, 60 divided by 3, is 20, which just brings us back to where we started. One of the things that we want to look at here in terms of multiplying is the idea that multiplying by 10 is very easy. So if we can multiply by 10, that's what we want to do. For example, 223 multiplied by 10 is 2,230. You just stick a 0 on the end. Similarly, the number 27.89, when it's multiplied by 10, you get 278.9. To multiply by 10, you just move the decimal point one place to the right. So it's very simple to multiply by 10, and similarly for 100, you just add 2 zeros or move the decimal place 2 places to the right. Or to multiply by 1,000, you add 3 zeros or move the decimal point 3 places to the right. So multiplying by a factor of 10 means that things are very easy, and it's something we prefer to do rather than multiply by any other number. So let's have a look at the term distributive. Multiplication is distributive over addition. Let's try and figure out what that means simply by looking at the example. So in this example, we say that 7 multiplied by 8 plus 3 is equal to 7 by 11. Now you know from BIMDAS, brackets, indices, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction, that the brackets are done first in any particular expression. So we have 7 multiplied by 11, which gives us 77. Now I want us to think about what multiplication is. There's different ways of thinking about it. We can say we're adding 7 times. We can say we're scaling up by a factor of 7. Or we can say that we have got 7 groups of things. So imagine that this 8 and this 3 represented, say, 8 brown eggs in a basket and 3 white eggs in a basket, which gives us a total of 11 eggs in a basket. And imagine then that there's 7 baskets. So in the first example, in the first part, we're looking at 7 multiplied by 11 eggs for a total of 77 eggs. But we can think about this in a different way. We can say that we've got 7 baskets with 8 brown eggs in it, and we got 7 baskets with 3 white eggs in it. So if we count all the brown eggs first, we see that we've got 56 eggs, 7 times 8, and we've got 21 white eggs, 7 times 3. And then we can add them all together for a total of 77. So it has to add up to the same thing. So instead of saying 7 times 8 plus 3, we can say 7 times 8 plus 7 times 3. So where does the term distributive come in? What does it mean multiplication is distributive over addition? We can see that 8 and 3 are added together, that's the addition, and 7 is multiplied by both of those, that is the term multiplication. So instead of writing 7 times 8 plus 3, we can distribute the 7 over the 8 and the 3 to get 7 times 8 and 7 times 3. The result is the same regardless. So that's what distributive means. You might try to practice that for a little bit to get an understanding of what it is, and you'll be doing more of that in the future. Now, the issue with distribution is that it's true in reverse as well, of course. So if we've got 7 groups of 8 and 3 groups of 8, then we have 10 groups of 8, which is 80. So instead of multiplying 7 by 8 and then multiplying 3 by 8 and then trying to add them together, we can think of them as groups. We've got 7 groups of 8 and another 3 groups of 8, which is a total of 10 groups of 8, which is 80. Now, in the addition and subtraction questions you were looking at, you looked at different ways. You looked at associativity and you looked at the idea that subtraction is the inverse of addition. Similarly, here for multiplication and division, we have the idea that multiplication and division are inverse operations of each other, and we look at the idea of distribution to try and figure out an easier way of doing questions. So let's have a look at maybe an example question that's a little bit harder than just grouping things together. In this question, we're asked 9 times 13 plus 2 plus another 15. Now, if we look carefully, we can realize that that's 9 times 15 plus another 15 for a total of 10 groups of 15, which is 150. So like I said, we much prefer to multiply by 10 than any other number. So if we recognize that we've got 9 groups of something plus another one of those things, we have 10 of those things, and it's much easier to work out the multiplication. Let's have a look at another example. 99 times 246 plus 246. Now in the first example, we could easily have worked out 9 times 15. However, in the second example, 99 times 246 is a difficult question to work out by hand, or at least it takes a few moments to do so. However, if we consider distribution, we realize we've got 99 groups of 246 and another group of 246, which of course is 100 groups of 246, which I assume you will be able to work out yourself. Let's have a look at a third example. With 99 groups of 246 and with the number 256. So with a little bit of a problem here until we think about what we really want. We want 100 groups of 246. So let's try and figure out a way of doing that. Well, instead of writing 256, we can write down 246 plus 10. Now we have 99 groups of 246 and another group of 246 plus 10, which gives us 246 times 100 plus 10, which is 24,610. So the whole idea of this section on adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing and associativity and distribution or distributive properties is to make things easier for ourselves. So we just got to keep our eyes open and see, is there an easier way of working out an expression when we want to do it by hand? If we want to do it by calculator, you just type it in by calculator and you get your answer. However, as I said before in the introduction to second level maths, we are sometimes thinking about general questions. So we might be looking at the concept of associativity and distributivity again. Okay, so getting an idea in your head what associative means and what distributive means. So you're distributing across the addition with the multiplication, and previously associative, you were associating or grouping things together in a different way.